Let's talk a little bit about getting rid of DEI, shall we? This is a man named Mark Morial, and he is the head of the Urban League, number 4.
Because the president has an obligation to be the president of all Americans. He sounded that theme repeatedly. This does not comport with that notion. It isn't just about paying back those who supported you. It's about affirming American values. I'd argue that DE&I was not a centerpiece of this election. It was about economic issues. It was about border. Yes, it was the subtext. Yes, it was discussed. But let me just go back to 81% of the American people. So when you challenge the notion that doors should be open, you're challenging the progress that women have made, that people of color have made, that people of gender identity have made over the years to create a stronger and a better America. That's what this is about. An attack on DE&I says the work of the last several presidents, going all the way back to the 1960s, is now for naught. And we have to resist that because it's not consistent. I'd appeal to the new administration to open a dialogue with those of us who understand and have worked hard to promote a more inclusive America. The notion that this is about returning merit, I want to squarely say that's what I call a smokescreen and a cover story.
It's not about going back to merit. And notice what this man is saying. By the way, the Urban League, I think, is the oldest civil rights organization in America. It might be older than the NAACP, but it's around the same time. He's suggesting that the progress that blacks have made is only because of race-based preferences and DEI. How insulting. As I mentioned, he is the president of the Urban League. The former president of the Urban League in the 60s was a man named Whitney Young, good friend of Martin Luther King's. And he proposed a type of Marshall Plan, that's how he described it, for a period of 10 years, this is in the mid-60s, to make up for historical discrimination. Again, this man's predecessor, the one you just now heard, Mark Morial, Whitney Young, proposed a Marshall Plan, basically DEI, for 10 years, starting in 1965, which means it would have ended in 1975, had it gone through. But guess who opposed it? His board of directors. The president of the Urban League branch in Pittsburgh said, quote, "What in the blazes are these guys up to? They tell us for years we must buy into non-discrimination, and then they say it isn't what we want?" Close quote. A member of the New York chapter of the Urban League objected to what he called, quote, "the heart of it, the business of employing Negroes because they are Negroes," close quote. He opposed it. Barack Obama and Michelle produced a movie about Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin was the one who came up with the idea of the March on Washington and recruited MLK to speak there. MLK, according to the film anyway, was reluctant. Bayard Rustin was pretty much the guy that put all this together. He was black and gay, and he opposed race-based preferences, or DEI. So the idea that blacks have always wanted it is completely untrue. And I'm in California, a left-wing state. In the mid-90s, they passed Proposition 209 to outlaw the use of race, gender, in hiring for government positions, in contracting for government contracts, and in admission into state colleges and universities. And it passed overwhelmingly. Well, just a couple of years ago, there was a proposition to repeal that. I think it was Proposition 18. It was 16 or 18. Mr. McConnell, let me know which one it was. I think it was 18. And the LA Times endorsed it, which would reintroduce the use of race in contracting, in hiring, and in admissions into colleges and universities. From mid-90s until now, the demographics of California has changed substantially. Now, the largest ethnic group are Hispanics. and it still was defeated. And those who supported it outspent those who opposed it almost 20-1. And in left-wing California, voters said, no, we ought not be using race or gender in hiring, in contracting, and in admissions to public universities and colleges. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.